The future of food retailing is now. Technology and innovation are rapidly altering the landscape at a pace never seen before. Join us as we work towards becoming better businesses and better partners for a better world. It's time to shop the future. Let's all be part of it. In this installment of the Shop the Future podcast, we'll examine the impact of advancing technology on the refrigeration, service, and install side of the business. To discuss today's topic, we are happy to be joined by Hussmann's Director of Connected Solutions, Clay Rohr. Clay, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Matt. Glad to be here.
Well, we're not going to waste too much time today. We're going to jump right into it. We've got a great subject, as we introed it just a moment ago. It is technology and how it's really influencing the service and install side of the business, and this continues to evolve. As we all know, equipment has broken down, it's needed to be maintained. There are things like refrigeration leaks that have happened really since we had refrigerated merchandisers in the marketplace. They plagued the industry, and Clay, we're looking for new solutions to help solve those problems for the food retailers. Talk a little bit about what some of those problems have been, and then where we're going to go to hopefully bring those food retailers up to speed as we start to utilize more technology and innovation for food retail.
Yep. Thanks, Matt. As we analyze the overall service business, one of the major concerns that we have as a company is getting new service technicians to join the refrigeration fold. There's less and less service technicians entering the market every year, and we have a lot of people retiring in the industry overall. So that's a critical issue for the entire refrigeration industry. And then as you dig deeper into that, you start to see technicians working 80 hours a week throughout the summertime. In the wintertime, they're barely hitting 40 hours, right? So it's not a good work-life balance for our technicians. And really, if you look at it, we've been doing business the same way over the last 85 years, where we're chasing a problem, a work order, a phone call, emergency break fix is what we call it, and we are just in alarm overload. There's no way to get ahead of it. We're always chasing our tails to the next issue to make sure we maintain uptime on our customers' equipment.
Yeah, so that's a problem, like you said, across the industry. Really almost a lack of manpower to really take care of those issues as we move forward. But along comes technology. Technology continues to innovate and evolve. And so now we're starting to look at new things like predictive analytics, different models to help those service technicians and those install technicians when they're out in the field. Talk to us a little bit about how some of that technology has changed the game and what we're seeing in the current state and in the future.
As you look at this key problem that we have, back in the late 90s, we seen controllers be introduced to the market, where these controllers were the answer to how can we control things better, how can we monitor assets and do a better job at service. But what we ended up finding from the late 90s until today is that these controllers create alarm overload. And a lot of retailers will have over 1 million alarms in the month of June. And if you really look at that dynamic, how can they stay ahead of all of those issues? You think about it from a service perspective, just to prioritize 1 million alarms and take action and do something meaningful with that, it becomes impossible. Okay? So you start to look at that, and then you mix that with the ever-increasing technology platforms and different types of systems and different layers of refrigeration at our customers, and it becomes a very complex challenge to solve.
Yeah, you talk about that complex problem, and we talked about controls entering the marketplace, but now as we evolve into now 2021, we start to look at new solutions. And your company, Hussmann, has developed a great new solution, IoT solution called Store Connect. Talk to us a little bit about that technology and that solution.
As we dove into figuring out how to change the overall service model, one of the first things we looked at is how do we get to a data-driven service model? So I talked about having millions of alarms, and I talked about emergency break fix, our hair's on fire, we're always chasing our tails. So about 2.5 years ago, we dove into an investment into predictive analytics, all right? And it isn't just about SaaS, it's not about software, it's about using data to drive a different model. What we call it is the planned performance service model. Plan being that we want to stay ahead of those millions of alarms and take action whenever the asset is not performing to the proper specification, right? So it's not about just looking at, did I hit a threshold? Am I pulling down to the proper temperature on time? It's about looking at the overall dynamic in that system, running these key analytics and algorithms, more or less putting the brains of our technicians into software to help us do a better job at staying ahead of problems. Okay, and as we looked at that technology, one of the great examples I'll share with you is solving the age-old problem of refrigerant leaks. Most people don't really understand that refrigerant leaks are not under control at supermarkets. It's a very hard thing to measure. It's a very hard thing to detect and to ensure that you fixed a leak. So what we honed in on over the past year is how do we detect leaks when they occur, and how do we validate that our technicians were able to fix the right leak? And what Store Connect was able to do is over 85% accuracy was to detect leaks when they occur, validate that it's fixed, so that we all have peace of mind that we have those leaks under control. That's resulted at over a 30% leak rate reduction at our customers. And we just launched this over the last 6 months, Matt. So we expect a lot of improvement over time, and we're really excited about the refrigerant side. But you look at the energy side and the overall maintenance side of our business, the technology drives different behaviors in the field to where we go from that emergency brake fix to a planned model. And as I mentioned, we talked about refrigerant, detecting it when it occurs. We can also detect failures on cases before they ever create a downtime event by looking at the way they operate after defrost, looking at how well they maintain temperature, and then we even look at the refrigeration systems and calculate how well they're performing over time. Using just simple thermodynamic calculations with our trending analysis and this data-driven model, we're able to change the game and how we manage our customers.
It's interesting, Clay. What a great product it sounds like Store Connect is, and a game changer truly for the retailers in the industry. Sometimes you look at things like computer analytics or predictive analytics as a big brother almost type scenario. In this case, it's actually very beneficial. You talked about the energy savings and the cost savings. You've got folks out there listening to the podcast today. They want to get a hold of somebody at Hussman. What do they need to do?
Yeah, please contact me. My name's Clay Rohr, CLAY.ROHRER @Hussman.com. Just send me an email and I'll respond to you as soon as I can.
Yeah, and folks, if you also want to, you can go right onto the Hussman website, find out more information, contact your local sales rep, or we can give you the phone number right there. Once again, we want to thank Clay Rohr for joining us here today, talking about the changes in the service and install portion of the food retail refrigeration business and about Hussman's exciting new technology and solution, Store Connect. Clay, thanks for joining us this time around.
Thank you, Matt.
That will do it for this edition of the Shop the Future podcast. Be sure to join us again as we explore the innovations and technologies that are changing food retail, and we work towards becoming better businesses and better partners for a better world. Shop the future. Let's all be part of it.